Woodlands Church is a church that has just consistently grown through the years. It started back in 1972. It was a handful of families that started this church, and over the next 20 years, it grew to the point where we built our first building.
Just to give you a little history, our previous worship spaces, we used to run 2 services simultaneously, 2 different rooms, and those rooms, just to be honest, had very poor sound quality.
We had dead spots all over the room. Depending on where you sat, impacted your experience.
You could be sitting in the center of one of those rooms and the sound would be piercing. You could be sitting on either side of one of those rooms and the sound would be either deafening or non-existent.
As we were beginning to talk about this, I was thinking about who's going to do audiovisual lighting. Infrastructure especially concerned me.
We asked our architect, let us know of AVL companies that we should be talking to.
So I started looking around and went to churches asking who worked for them, looked at the installations, looked at the paperwork they left behind.
I'm a former Willow Creeker, and when I heard that Clark had done the Willow Creek campuses, that was a positive.
I went to the North Shore campus. It's about the size of this hall, very similar construction, similar budget, right? You think of Willow Creek as ooh la la. They were on a budget in that room.
And so Clark came highly recommended as a company that could actually meet needs specific to your church and work with you in your budgetary needs, in your wheelhouse of style, as a company that would actually listen and not just give you big box options.
You need someone who's going to understand not just the market, but the history of the market and what's a good investment, what isn't, and you need somebody like Clark.
When Clark became aware of this project, they actually reached out and said, we want to come and visit. And Todd brought several with him to just talk through what our existing facilities were, what our vision was for this new room.
It surprised me that his past is not necessarily in AVL. It's in construction and construction management, or there are plenty of audio people, but we just don't know how to put all this stuff together. So that built a ton of confidence.
And in that first interaction with Todd, I saw a gentleness, a humility, a graciousness, and the ability to bring expertise without telling everybody you don't have any clue to what you're doing. So for me personally, when I knew the CEO of this company was a person that behaved in that way, gave me absolutely no doubt that this is the firm we're going to work with.
Going into this space, an absolute must was we wanted a killer sound system, and sound coverage was an absolute must. And this room, we've been just so impressed by the reality that from the moment we fired up the system to the services we've had in here, from the furthest back corner to the front row, we've actually had equal coverage, quality coverage, full rich sound coverage from every seat.
And I walked around this room for quite a while as music played, and the sound was the same everywhere I went. And the Clark team had told us that that's how it would be, but to experience it, I actually stood and wept. But that's what our people are going to experience. But to have a room like this where I think people are going to experience worship truly in a whole new way, it's really exciting. You work really hard to go and get a new client. And it's so much better to take care of the clients that you have. We are going to make sure our relationship with Clark stays strong.
At this juncture, I can call Clark and say, can you help us with this? The impersonal, big box, 2-day shipping thing doesn't meet my need in that at all. It doesn't help me with that. Actually, it just puts me in a space where I have to figure more things out myself, take time away from the thing that is the main vision and crux of what our church does, which is people.
You just need somebody who gets your DNA, but also has bought in to your vision for a place.
And it's not just about the business. I am grateful that you all behave in such a way that it is about the relationship, and we're not going to let it go away.